Greetings one and all, I am Azazel, and welcome to my chronicles. Each of these episodes is designed for those who wish to get to know the grim darkness of the 41st millennium just a little bit better, or if you simply wish to while away the hours listening to sweet nothings as you paint your models, that's okay too. Or maybe, just maybe, you'll enjoy this channel. What follows is the first installment of a series. We will cover the basics of life in the 41st millennium, and then continue to expand, to diversify, and redistribute our efforts to dive deeper into this rich, rich world. And please bear in mind that I do this for fun. I am not an expert, nor a writer, but I am one of you, an enthusiast, and we are what makes this hobby's world go round, for without us, we wouldn't have any of it. Yet I have rambled on enough. Let us do away with soliloquy. For now, steel your hearts and gird your minds as we enter the most horrific place imaginable. The place where hope goes to die and where thirsting gods rack the souls of billions while directing madness on the stage of our galaxy as easily as puppeteers pull on strings. Welcome to the 41st millennium. Imagine a galaxy where every day is hell. A twisted, malformed abomination of an empire where your existence is meaningless. In the churning trillions that populate the stars, you aren't even a footnote in history. Each second of every moment is a battle to survive, born, raised, and dying over a few score years as you toil, break your body, and bend all your efforts to the continuance of a greater machine. And yet, despite those efforts, you are worth less than the dirt on your shoes. You are nothing. Your life is short, miserable, and spent living inside the same few meters of hab block from this moment until the day that your wretched heart beats its last. That is, of course, unless you join the military, the Astra Militarum. You may explore a little further afield, but your wretched lifespan will be dramatically reduced. Armed with a lasgun, the butter knife equivalent of a laser weapon, and used as cannon fodder, your greatest service is that of soaking up bullets so that the men behind you can advance maybe another half a meter. Or you may be tortured by sadistic alien races, or perhaps in the best case scenario, quickly gobbled up by living nightmares of Lovecraftian horror. But we are getting ahead of ourselves now. We must walk before we can run, after all. Welcome to your home, a hive city. Your lungs burn from the toxic fumes of millions of manufactorums. The air on your home planet is barely breathable from the pollution, as its once verdant ecosphere became cannibalized to support the efforts of a war without end. Your workers' rights are still in place, of course. Rations that barely surpass as edible, and the occasional sleeping break. What? You expected sick leave? Pay? A pension? Oh no. Your only human contact is that of sour-faced enforcers who relish in providing malicious corrections with a frequency that borders on the sadistic. Sometimes, these enforcers will be lobotomized servitors, human-machine cyborgs that do not relish the punishment they mete out. And yet, mete it out, they continue to do so. Be careful what you say as well. You think a grumble or a criticism will be taken well? That there is an HR department prepared to give you a stern warning? No. Not only are you at the mercy of your betters in this dystopian landscape of the far future, but you never know when the Inquisition are listening. All they require is a misconstrued statement to detain, torture, and execute your hopeless meat sack. And sometimes they need even less than that. Of course, there are many others in this universe with privilege, titles, and better qualities of life. Individuals that languish in their wealth and indulge in pleasures hedonistic and lavish. But for the vast majority of humanity, life is the cheapest commodity. Welcome to the Imperium of Man in the 41st millennium, and remember that this is the best option in a galaxy ripped apart by hell. For 10 millennia, the Imperium of Man has been a rotting carcass falling apart and succumbing to the ravages of time, hubris, and war as it attempts to maintain a strength and unity that hasn't been seen for 10,000 years. Human life is cheap. A use is found for every citizen, from the servile fanatics to the very worst dregs of humanity. Back-breaking, lung-burning, hazardous work on inhospitable rocks across every part of the galaxy continues day after day until you fall down dead. From the cold settlements of ore-rich asteroids to the hive cities of the prime planets, toil and terror are written into the hearts of humanity. And yet, the lives of its citizens could be far worse. Long dormant Xenos races rise to exterminate all life from the galaxy. Ancient star system migrating horrors seek out human flesh to multiply and expand their alien broods. Fledgling empires look to usurp mankind's rightful place as the masters of this galaxy, whilst broken remnants of shattered alien empires attempt to break apart our places of power. The galaxy, meanwhile, has been torn in twain. The warp, the Imperium. Hell itself has spilled out across the Milky Way, shedding blood, despair, and nightmarish creatures of the inferno across the galaxy's heart. To exist in the grim darkness of these abominable times is to suffer. And to suffer knowing that the alternative is far more terrible. No matter the subjugation, the beatings, the fear of each and every day, you are thankful that the Imperium exists, thankful for the stick and not the carrot. But most importantly, thankful to He who rests on the golden throne, the God Emperor of Mankind, our eternal guardian, the one to whom each and every human owes obeisance and fealty, sits on Terra, once called Earth, and guides the human race from his holy seat of power. Yet, in reality, this rotting corpse of our most powerful human being, the greatest of our immortals, lies trapped. Unable to fully die, yet unable to live. 1 foot in the hell we call the immaterium, the warp, and 1 foot in our reality, the materium. Unmoving, undying, forced to live for 10,000 years in absolute agony, his living corpse is powered by the only true value in this dark universe. The soul sacrifice of thousands upon thousands of psychers, those with the ability to channel the warp, every single day. Without him, our race would be lost. Without the golden light of his beacon, the Astronomicon, to guide us through interstellar travel, our race would be torn apart by the demonic beings of the Immaterium. Our colonies would lie isolated and left as easy prey to malignant Xenos raiders. Piece by piece, our empire would fall. Be thankful for your suffering. Give praise to him, for he is one who will never know the touch of mortality's blessed ending. Find gratitude for those who punish the wicked, the mutant, the heretic, for they keep you from the grasp of things far worse than death. For now, you may reside in a living hell, but there are realities and existences far deeper, far more terrible, and far more agonizing than this life. Give praise unto him, our God Emperor of Mankind, and praise to his armies, the Angels of Death. The Emperors, Angels of Death. Unstoppable, implacable, genetically enhanced warriors who are trained and equipped to take on the most formidable horrors that this galaxy has to offer. Clad in battle plate and standing far taller than your average human, these transhuman warriors are the saviors of benighted worlds, and a death sentence for the Imperium's enemies. In the words of the Emperor himself from the great Games Workshop, "They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay I shall mould them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew, In great armour I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons shall they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease. No sickness shall blight them. They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are the defenders of humanity. They are my space marines, and they shall know no fear. Bestriding the battlefield like gods of death, these warriors fight for the Imperium, for the Emperor of Mankind. But do not mistake these angels of death for the saviors of humanity. The very forces that array themselves against our Imperium, against our entire race, are vehemently powerful, savage in their ferocity, and in numbers beyond counting. It is for this reason that the Space Marines themselves oft resort to drastic measures to achieve the ultimate victory. You are nothing compared to the continued survival of the human race. If you are in the way, if you impede these super soldiers in even the slightest manner, you too will go the way of the Xenos, the mutant, and the heretic. No moments of thought will be spared for you. Victory is all that matters to the protectors of mankind. Thank you, my friends, for this, the most basic of introductions to the Warhammer 40k universe. For that is the wondrous part of this hobby and the lore that surrounds it. It is so unfathomably rich. It has taken the imagination of hundreds and the work of thousands to create this sci-fi setting so compelling and so epic that to cover more than the slightest fraction at any one time would be far, far too long. For now, I shall bid you adieu. Go forth in the name of He who protects, walk in His light and curse those who stand against Him. For the Emperor shelters us, one and all. Also, if you'd like to comment, like, or subscribe, that would also be very welcome too. And as I'm very new to this sort of thing, any constructive criticism, as long as it is constructive, is perfectly welcome. Until next time, ciao ciao for now.